Hey everybody, welcome back to the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tony DeMakis with Alliance Specialties and Alliance Laser Sales, where we are mold makers that don't build molds. I said it a bunch of times today, and it sounds silly every time I say it. So let me tell you what it means. It means that we do the things that you, the mold maker, don't have time or the resources or the personnel to do. We don't want to build molds. We want to help you achieve your goals. So we do the polishing, the laser welding, laser engraving, hot runner repair, preventative mold maintenance. It's really easy for me to say, so that you don't have to do those things. We have the staff, we've got the qualified people, and we're here ready to help you. We also build and sell laser welding and laser engraving machines, all American made, because we believe that American manufacturing is really, really important. It's important for a number of reasons, boost our economy, make sure that we are able to defend ourselves if it comes to that we have the resources that we need. And we can give jobs to our people. It's amazing. And it's really fun to make the stuff and come and see you. So if you are looking for a laser welding machine, if you are in the market, we would love to talk to you about that. Why would you want to buy something from Alliance? Well, I'm glad that you asked. One of those reasons is because we want to give back. We want to make a difference in the world wherever we can. And so for every machine that we sell, every laser welding or laser engraving machine that we build, that we sell, whether that's the ID1 laser welding machine or an Advantage laser engraving system, a portion of those proceeds go to the Tim Tebow Foundation to help end human trafficking, because we believe that God's children are not for sale, but American-made laser welding machines absolutely are. And if you'd like to have a demo, we'll come out and do that. We'll come to your facility, bring the machine, we'll do all those things. We just want to be able to prove to you that it is the right thing for you. If you like this show, we would love for you to subscribe to it. We would like bring the notifications, all those ridiculous things that people say. Basically, all that's going to do is make sure that you don't miss what's coming up. And we have a lot of good guests in the pipeline. So make sure that you don't miss those shows. Here's a look at what's coming up. Spoiler alert, Lexington Peterson is joining us today from ENGEL North America. Next week, I will be at the Plastics Conference. It's a fly-in to DC, and I'm planning on doing some things there as well. April 16th, Cameron Bean and Eric Bean from Bald Mountain Manufacturing will be with us. April 23rd, Lindsay Mann from MTD Micromolding. April 30th, Tony Broadzeller from Innovation Mold and Design. May 7th, again, we'll be at the AMBA conference. Could be some good things going on there. May 14th, Katie Sobey and her dad will be joining us from PTP Manufacturing. And May 21st, we will be back at MD&M East, hopefully with part of the News and Brews crew once again. So that'll be an amazing time. I look forward to all those guests. So like I said, you're not going to want to miss any of those shows or what's happening. We also have the Make Manufacturing Fun Again series is getting ready to kick off. It should be launching next week. That is Justine Ewald from the TMA and I are going out to all these manufacturing companies, and we're talking to them, and we're seeing what it takes to be a manufacturer in Illinois. What does that look like? What are the skill sets? What's the barrier to entry? How does somebody get into it? And then they are putting Justine and I to the task, and they're giving us jobs to do, challenges, if you will, to see who the best employee is. It's been a ton of fun. We are getting ready to go out to AJ Manufacturing tomorrow to film the next episode. It's going to be super fun. And all of those will be on the TMA's website or TMA's YouTube channel, the Manufacturing Alliance YouTube channel. And we have a new one. It's the Make Manufacturing Fun Again YouTube channel. So be sure to check those out. And last but not least, I want to mention, is it this one? I think it's this one. Yes. I want to mention my friend at Shop Floor Coffee. I am not a coffee drinker. I have to say that in all honesty. I think that, there are some really dedicated coffee drinkers out there and they love their coffee. And when we were at MD&M West, I met Mike, who is the owner of Shop Floor Coffee, and he is an amazing guy. And they also are committed to charity and giving back, and a portion of the sales from their coffee goes to different charities that have to do with manufacturing and other things. So if you are a coffee drinker, we have a special offer for you. You can go to shopfloorcoffee.com and add in the code ALL10 for 10% off your order. I don't get anything from this other than the satisfaction of knowing that Mike, a good guy, is benefiting in some way and growing his business and able to give back. So you don't have to do it for me. I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't get anything out of it, but Mike does. And Mike gives back to the industry. And from what I've heard, the coffee is better than Folgers or the K-Cups or any of that stuff. I don't drink it. It's a thing. So visit shopfloorcoffee.com and put in that coupon code ALL10 and try it. And let me know. Let me know if it's good. I heard it's good, but let me know what you think. A couple things before we get started here. This is a live show. Why is it a live show? It's a live show because we want to hear your thoughts, your comments, your opinions. And so if you have something to say, we already have people in the chat. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. If you have something to say, if you want to know more, if you want to get engaged in the conversation, don't sit back and wait and think like, I wish they would talk about this, or I hope they're going to talk about that. Just ask a question. Worst case scenario, put your name in the chat, put your business in the chat, and we're going to give you a shout out. We have Whitney is with us, and she says, looking forward to seeing you next week. Tony, Whitney, thank you for joining us on the show. I can't wait to see you next week in DC. It's going to be a ton of fun. So that's me rambling on. I'm done rambling on. And now I'm going to bring in my guest, who I met at the plastics conference. I don't remember what date that was, but she probably will. I'm going to bring in Lexington. Lexington.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for being willing to do this. It's not everybody's jam. And some people can get a little nervous or a little, squeamish about it. But, you seemed very game from the minute I asked. So thanks for being willing to be part of the fun.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We've got all kinds of people asking questions already, so this is good. So Lexington, before we get into things, tell people a little bit about who you are and what you're doing. Right now you're at ENGEL, but where were you before that? What's your background?
Yes. So in school, I studied plastics engineering and polymer chemistry. So it goes without saying I'm a giant nerd, always have been, always will be. I knew that I wanted to be in the plastics industry since I was a child. I don't know if you remember that nasty Gulf spill back in 2010, but it was extremely traumatizing to those of us Gen Z millennials who are coming up. And so you'll see a lot of professionals, I'm not unique in this way, that have pursued careers that make a tangible impact on the environment, and it is a priority for them. Fresh out of college, I worked for Influx. It's a subsidiary of Procter & Gamble that sells software that goes on injection molding machines. And, their whole pursuit for sustainability is that they were able to accommodate for ocean bottle grade plastics or wood-filled plastics, any of those, non-traditional resins. Love that. So sexy. Then afterwards, they closed. And I went to Krauss-Maffei to be a project manager in their automation division and connected with ENGEL at the National Plastics Exposition last year, and essentially the rest is history.
So when you were at the plastics conference, that was like your first that was your hangout with ENGEL, or you were already working there?
So I had stopped in to say hi to a former influxer, just to check in with him, see how he was doing, and naturally other conversations happened. So yeah, it was just stopping in to see an old friend.
And you ended up getting a job out of it?
Yes. Yeah. Luckily. So it's exciting because they kind of developed this business development role around some of my natural skill sets with engineering, but I also love the communication side, very similar to you with the marketing and the interest in people. I love that. So I don't want to be in a cube or at a press by myself doing the engineering. I want to be doing stuff like this and talking with people who care about the industry.
So would you say that's part of your passion? I mean, you went to school for plastics, right? And engineering?
Yes. Yeah. And polymer chemistry.
I don't know how to do any of that. So that's impressive to me. And so you went from school for that. Is that still something that you're passionate about, or do you prefer the people side, or is it like a mix of both of those?
For the longest time, it was all I ever knew. And now I'm pursuing my MBA with engineering management as a focus. But now I'm finally having actual education around marketing and communication and strategic decision making, and will be a better help to the industry knowing more of this. A lot of
Sure.
us we know how to talk. We talk to each other every day. We know how to communicate, but rarely are we formally educated into it. So the MBA was really important and has been a huge help.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think they know how to communicate. I mean, I would be lying if I said I haven't been accused of that, where, I feel like I'm totally clear in the things I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
And then other people are like, what did you mean? What's going on? What does that look like? And I'm like, but I said it. I don't understand why you don't understand. Like, how much more clear do I need to be on the things that I'm saying? I think it would be fascinating to learn like what that looks like, to have those better skills, especially when you're looking at uh, communicating with engineers and people on the floor and going forward in those regards.
Yeah. No, it's extremely valuable. Like in any interview setting, having those soft skills, that's really what sets people apart today. We're connected on this global level, and to show up with all the qualifications, they're getting more applicants in that have the same qualifications. So the people skills, I think, are just as valuable anymore.
Yeah, I think I would almost challenge that the people skills are a little higher than, like, what do you know, right? Westminster is huge about that. I learned that from Ray and Hillary and Hannah and Colby and the whole crew over at Westminster. Is like that whole idea of training for uh, for the person, right? Like, or hiring for the person and then training for the skills.
Yeah.
You have to have some passion. Like, I don't know anything about engineering. I would be a terrible engineering hire. Uh, but you can take a flyer on people. What was that?
Until you got training, right? Like as long
Right.
as you have that
Right.
potential and the hunger to learn, I think anybody would be a good fit. And what really
Yeah.
like took me aback at the National Plastics Conference with Hannah from that team, they're
Yep.
not even looking at resumes anymure. Like I
Right.
was absolutely taken aback when she said that. Because I mean, as long as people are willing to learn, why not?
Right.
Why not teach it from the ground up? As long as they have the means to invest in that person, right?
Right. And I think it's a huge shift in culture and idea and identity and who you want to be as a company as a whole. I think, I know that when I meet with people for interviews for, jobs at Alliance,
Mm-hmm.
they'll come in with a resume, and some people will come in with a cover letter. And I honestly don't look at it at all. Um, if their resume is like 4 pages long, I mean, that's a red flag, because it means they don't stay somewhere for very long. But uh, overall, I want to get to know the person, and are they going to fit into the culture of our company?
Yeah.
If they have some experience, great. If they're a mold repair technician, you got to know a little bit more stuff, right? Like, then you're going to have to pass some tests.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at that case, it'd probably be 75% technical and 25% social. Um,
Yeah,
Depends on the role for sure.
but you still have to be able to talk and engage, and like, you can tell with somebody if they're going to be a cancer to your organization or if they're going to be a benefit to your organization right away.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So how was it for you, as a female in the industry and coming up? You hear a lot of things. I hear a lot of things about how um, females, girls, women, depending on whatever age that is, they
mhm.
are almost dissuaded or not encouraged to get into engineering, manufacturing, STEM types of things. Did you have that same experience?
Um, well, the discussion started when I was in college, like actually in engineering, that our professors were, very transparent that younger women are still the minority in this field. And that maybe every now and then I'd run into it, but I've been really fortunate along the way to be a part of some amazing companies that the more seasoned professionals are willing to take me under their wing, and
Mm,
not, it was, sometimes it was a disadvantage, but many times it was an advantage. So it all balances out in my eyes. Um, But yeah, I'm fortunate. We were talking about it earlier this morning. Having a gender neutral name has done a lot of favors, I would think, in applications and
Sure.
initial impressions. So grateful for that.
So were you always like as a grade school kid, junior high, high school, were you always interested in the engineering side of things?
I was always good at math and science. It was definitely like a confidence area.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we got this pamphlet when I was in fourth or fifth grade that was like, what did you want to be when you grow up? And I had put plastics engineer and I spelled engineer with an I. But it was all because of that sea turtle in the straw. I don't know if you remember that story.
I do.
Traumatizing experience as a child. Um, but yeah, at that point, I was interested in plastics, how to get them out of the oceans.
Hmm.
And yeah, so it's been there since I was a kid.
Okay. So is that still a passion of yours?
The sustainability side,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
So I would love to talk about that more because we've had different conversations on sustainability on this show, and I have in other areas. And
Mhm.
I firmly believe that of course people want to be more responsible and they want to have sustainability with their products. I also believe they don't know how, right? Like I think that at my house, I have a big garbage can and I have a small garbage can. I have the garbage and I have the recycling. And I feel like I'm doing my part by taking my garbage and throwing it in the garbage and taking my recycling and throwing it in the recycling. Is that doing anything? How do people actually have to move to make sustainability a reality?
Right. I mean, at a certain point, it comes back to like infrastructure. If you're doing the right thing, Tony, every single time, maybe your neighbor isn't, and that whole batch is
Sure.
ruined because of it. So that all gets tossed. So it comes down to infrastructure, sorting processes. And I also think that companies have a responsibility in it too to make sure that it is cyclical. You know, they're doing their part too and investing in that infrastructure and educating consumers on how to recycle appropriately.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that's missing, right? Like nobody knows how. They
Yes.
just think like, okay, it's plastic, it's paper, it's cardboard, it goes in this one. If it's, food and stuff, it goes in the other one. But I mean, I don't know how to do it the right way. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know where it winds up. I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Uh, I'm not just like leaving the recycling bin empty.
Yeah.
I would love for it to be done correctly. I just don't know what that looks like.
Right. And really, we just look at Europe. We're like, what are you doing over there? And usually they're way ahead of us in that regard. Uh,
Okay.
but, you know, we're trying to catch up. We're doing our part too. There's a lot of initiatives going on. The Plastics Industry Association is leading that Recycling is Real campaign, educating that, you know, it isn't a waste to put in the effort. Even if we're doing it wrong, at least we're trying, you know?
Right.
People want to do better.
And that's what I'm saying. I agree with you that I think that like nobody is saying let's pollute the oceans intentionally.
Yeah,
Let's create more landfills because it's so fun to look at all the garbage. Like
right.
nobody's saying that at all.
Yeah,
I just feel like nobody knows how to do it.
right.
Um, and that it's funny that you bring up the sea turtle. Are you still passionate about the sea turtle with the straw in his nose?
Yeah, I mean, he's always in the front part of my mind. Like, remember him.
Because now I joke, and this may mean that you hate me after this, but I kept thinking like that. How was that sea turtle supposed to survive a shark attack? Like that sea turtle, I think he was a special turtle because a straw got him. Like the shark is definitely going to kill that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, at the same time, too, I feel like plastics in the ocean is constantly the topic of discussion, but there's also like clothing out there. There's a lot of other waste in our oceans that aren't
Yes.
getting as ridiculed, um, but also giving us the benefit of the doubt. The real epicenter for all of the plastic waste is coming out of the Asian,
Mm,
that area. It's like 70% is what's generating that mass island of plastic. So,
okay.
really controlling it there is really what will have an impact.
So I guess that's a question. Do you know, is there any like what's being done in the Asian market to try to minimize that or eliminate it, or is there anything? And we're trying to do the best that we can here, and we're a blip.
Yeah. I don't know entirely what their recycling culture looks like there. I know that here, like I've seen a lot of nonprofits that have gone out and collected batches of that plastic
Yep.
waste, brought it in. have cleaned it up and repurposed it. So, coming back to ENGEL and their capabilities, they have this IQ weight control.
Okay.
So all this plastics that we're bringing back in, it's not optimized. It has a wide variation, so it's very difficult to process historically. But IQ weight control controls that variation, and we're able to make good parts now out of what was, trash before.
Yeah.
So it's feeding into that circular economy, and I absolutely love it.
I think it's so cool. And I mean, honestly, I think most people don't care if something has to be slightly off white, or, it doesn't have the most perfect pure color
Right.
from virgin resin. I really don't think people care.
Yeah. And if anything, it shows like their dedication in purchasing products like that maybe are wood filler. It looks cool. And they're
Right.
able to show like, I'm willing to pay a little bit more for this because it aligns with my values.
Right. I as much as I say that I think that everybody is on board with sustainability and they love that idea of it, it's the same thing as we want better benefits and treatment for our employees and our employer and the people at work and our workforce and work-life balance and all those things. And it's great to say all those things. We all say the right things, right?
Right.
But it's like my mom used to say, don't tell me you love me, show me that you love me. We all say all those things, but Amazon has not become Amazon. I have nothing against Amazon. Amazon has not become what Amazon is because people are worried about sustainability and buying products that are good for the environment.
Yes.
And so as consumers, we have this choice, right? We can say we're all for sustainability and recyclability and all those things, but we really speak with our dollar and our money.
Right. And, being realistic in that regard, like even like Shein, it's affordable clothing to most Americans. A lot of college girls buy it. It isn't the sustainable option. It's very wasteful, not good quality, but it's all we can afford, right? Like it's at a certain point, it's not the consumer's fault that they can't afford anything else.
Sure.
Right? So for those that can purchase, goods that have been recycled or contribute to some good organization, that's great. But
Yeah.
the reality is most Americans can't.
Or they spend their money in other places, which again is up to them. But I just think it's one of those things where you say, this is what I believe, this is what I think, this is how I think businesses should do things. But then at the same point, as a consumer, you also have to be willing to do that and not buy the thing on Amazon that's $5 when it should be $25. But but it's better for everybody.
Right.
It's hard, is my point. I don't think it's an easy solution. I think that when we were at MD&M West, I had the ability to talk about sustainability, and I found somebody that helped me have that conversation because I think it's one of those buzzwords that everybody agrees with, but nobody knows how to do it.
Yeah. I mean, even looking at NPE this past year, I went back in 2018 too, and just the shift in talking and highlighting sustainability and plastics, it was everywhere you look. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad that we're finally having these discussions and putting it at the forefront of our conversations. But like, we have a long way to go.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. But I think like events like the Plastics Association did at the conference. What was that in the summer? Where we went and we did like the garbage cleanup in the neighborhood. That was awesome. And we had the garbage bag and we had the recycling bag, and they made it so that you didn't have to be picky or selective on which pieces of plastic that you picked up because of the technology to be able to sort and use all of it. Those are amazing advances.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for what that looks like going forward. Let's see. I'm going to read through some of these things real quick and we'll see what sticks. Paul L. I don't know his last name. He says, exciting insights, Lexington. The shift towards electrification and autonomy in manufacturing reflects the need to engage our future workforce, especially the Gen Z and Millennials, balancing technological advancement while prioritizing human connection is crucial. How do you see leadership in evolving to support these changes? There is a lot there.
That was heavy. Yep.
Yeah. So I guess the first part is, tell me about what that looks like, because I'm not familiar with either the electrification or autonomy in manufacturing. So can
Yeah.
you break that down for me a little bit?
Yeah. Um, so we're not just noticing it in automotive, right? It's like in all aspects of our lives. Autonomy was the other half of the conversations at NPE. Autonomy
Sure.
AI. All of our injection molding booths had customers stopping in asking, "What are you doing for AI and autonomy?" And from my perspective, the reality is it cannot just be chatbots or industrial
Mm.
robots that are going to solve this um, issue of, well, we have a depleting workforce. They're aging rapidly. We need to
Yes.
accommodate for that with automation, but at the same time, it needs to be more of a machine learning focus. It cannot just be a chatbot on our screens that are suggesting to technicians changes they need to make.
Right.
Um, and then on top of that, just creating more autonomous cells that are accommodating for their mental degradation or their physical. Like it needs to. A lot of people are reaching that age of retirement, but they maybe want to work longer. We're living longer than ever. Maybe they want to work longer, or realistically, they can't afford to retire.
I was
So
going to
we
say
need
they
to,
have to work longer, right?
yeah. So I guess that's the autonomy piece of it. For electrification, EVs. we- I don't. I don't know. I think it's going to significantly slow with this administration over the next 4 years.
Okay.
We've already seen some uh, things that were de-incentivized for purchasing EVs. However, it's still trending upward. We have a lot of positive market insights on the public's adoption of electric vehicles, and the transition piece has really been hybrid vehicles.
Yep. Well, in Illinois, and
Mhm.
that's surprising that you would say that with this administration, considering that Mr. Musk is
Yeah,
heavily involved with that.
right.
Um, However you feel about it,
Hmm.
he's heavily involved with that. So you would think that it wouldn't be that much of a breakdown. But I do think that the hybrid vehicles have much more. Um, it's a much more enticing thing, especially for somebody in Illinois.
Yeah,
So what happened here was we had sometimes it gets really cold, right? Where are you at?
I'm in Cincinnati, so
Okay,
probably not too far away. Yeah.
you get some cold, right? But when you
Yes.
get those like minus 20 days, minus 25 days, it kills the cars.
Yes.
And so O'Hare was littered with left vehicles, EV vehicles that couldn't start because of the cold weather. It like killed the battery. And so, like, if it's a hybrid vehicle, I think you got a little bit better of a chance, a better chance of having success. But when it's cold and that battery dies, you're just in trouble.
Yeah. Uh, Yeah, I mean, that's why oftentimes you'll see like EVs or even the autonomous vehicle adoption is mostly in the southern states, right? We're learning
Yeah,
how to use this technology, and the engineering has to get better for adoption. The battery technology needs to get better. You're noticing like a lot of gigafactories that are going up to manufacture
sure,
those cells that go into the EVs, but we're not there by any means. The infrastructure isn't there to support even charging them. Um,
right,
but we just got to this party too. Like China's 20 years ahead of us, so
yeah,
we're learning.
yeah. The last time I was in California, I had an EV vehicle. I don't remember which one it was. It wasn't a Tesla. I know that. Um, I was supposed to have a Tesla, and they gave me some other knockoff brand. I don't remember what it was. Uh, and I purposely like it was really scary for me to drive that car, not because I was afraid of the car, but I didn't know how to charge it. They didn't tell me how to charge it at the rental place. I didn't know where to find a charger. There were like all these hurdles, so I just kept watching the gauge, like how much more can I drive before I need to return this vehicle without having to charge it, because I don't know how. Um,
Yeah.
and there was a guy who said, like, I picked up the car and he saw the car. He's like, I got one of those last time when I was supposed to get a Tesla, and it took me an hour to charge it. And I was like, oh no, that's
Yeah.
that's not what I'm planning on.
And nobody has that time.
Yeah,
So I've had coworkers who've purchased EVs, they're buying into it.
sure.
And they have about like 6 or 7 apps maybe for different charging station types. So it really does need to be simplified still. I think that we have all these different charging companies that have popped up. So you have many options. It is confusing though.
Yes. And again, I think it's like the sustainability thing. I think it's a really cool thing. I think it's a great thing. I
Right.
love the different technologies. Like I would love like they have the hydrogen car too, right? Like that's really cool. Like I mean, yes, right? Who's going to say no to that? Like water's free for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, and we're not even seeing that really in consumer vehicles. That's like in long haul transportation for the hydrogen side.
Yeah.
It's pretty volatile too. It's kind of scary to think that you're sitting on top of a potential bomb. Like um, it's not easygoing. I wouldn't buy into the technology myself yet.
Yeah. But it's cool that they are thinking about it, right?
Yes.
And I think there's a positive and a negative of all the things that we're talking about when it comes to like EV, right? Like, what do you do with the batteries when they go bad?
Right.
I mean, how do you recycle those? Can you recycle those, or does that just wind up in a landfill? I don't know the answers to those things, but it's like you come up with this thing and then you make it better over the period of time, and you see what it's going to look like.
Right. I mean, what I've heard is that some of these OEMs are creating leases to get the vehicle back, to grab the battery, and then extract the minerals and recycle it that way.
Okay.
So that's what I've heard is the strategy behind leasing an EVs.
It's
But
not so that you just pay for it forever.
right. No, that couldn't be it.
No, it couldn't be the evil side of it.
No.
You will never own this car. You will just continue to pay us forever.
Yeah.
And it's part of our scheme, and we're going to call it recycling and sustainability, so you feel good about giving us money forever.
I mean, I
Would
do hope that we get to a point where we have enough of these out in the world that are getting recycled to where we could stop. It would be a long ways out, but stop mining and refining these minerals domestically because it is very hard on the environment. That's why we didn't do it for the longest time. It's often seen in like South America or Africa. It's very harsh on the environment. And
okay.
so you'll notice like little lithium mining or graphite mining popping
Okay.
up here and there, but it's not the most fun.
I'm sure. And it's like anything else, right? There's going to be that positive and negative of anything, and people are going to see the positive and the negative in anything depending on what side of the aisle you're on, or what your team is fighting for at that moment.
Right.
Um, and I don't think that there's a right or wrong answer in this situation. I mean, be mindful, I guess, is the thing, right?
Yeah. And I try to stay optimistic around these topics too. It's in the interest of being sustainable or, improving safety on the roads, at least with the autonomy side of it.
Sure.
Having these over the air updates, like, I don't know, a lot of these companies have an interest in the software development,
Right.
which could improve the automated driver assistance and all these other fun features. Maybe even like your uh, your experience within the vehicle could improve. So it's interesting.
And I mean, that's scary to a certain extent too, that at any given point they can download an update to your car while you're in the middle of driving it. Like who knows what's going to happen with that? Like how many times have you added a new app on your phone and like something's different and you
Yeah,
don't know how to do what you're supposed to do?
yeah.
Uh,
But the
hope
other side of that too is like the connectivity piece. If you
Okay.
find a bug in one vehicle and they're all able to be updated over the air, you can
That's cool.
resolve that in all vehicles rather than sending out a huge batch and then having to have consumers bring them in one by one
Right.
to fix it.
No, that I agree with. I never thought of it on that in that regard. I just remember I have a Jeep, and I was driving it and the radio wasn't working for whatever reason. And I called the dealership and they were like, "Oh, just try it again in like an hour. They might be doing an update to your car." And I was like, "What? That's a thing?" Like
They didn't ask.
nobody has to tell you that. They just like zap you an update, and some things might work and some things might not. Um, it's really weird, but I
Yeah,
think it's cool that they can do that, because like you said, how many people don't go in for a recall or an
yeah,
update?
yeah. So
So when Paul continued and he was talking about how the manufacturing of those electrification and autonomous things reflect the need to engage our future workforce, especially Gen Z and millennials. Do you see that? Are more Gen Z, more millennials more interested in those types of cars and desires?
Um, I think they still need to become more affordable. Like having an
Mm,
EV that's under $30,000 is ideal for true adoption.
sure.
And then also like better battery technology for, range extension. But I do think that millennials, Gen Z would be more eager to jump on the sustainability bandwagon than, potentially a boomer. But honestly, all those coworkers I mentioned earlier who have purchased EVs, they're not millennials or Gen Z. So no, I think they're excited too about this whole transition.
Sure. So Rich, my friend Rich Thiel from SCS, he's correcting us here. He's correcting mostly me. He says,
Okay.
guys, it doesn't update while you're driving. There are fail safes. And he says, and your car gets better over time. Rich, thank you for
Yes, thank you, Rich.
correcting me. I appreciate that. I'm not too proud to say that I don't know all the things. But that's why you have friends that do. And he's been on the show before, and he's a great guy to know, especially if you need cutting tools. If you need cutting tools, see Rich. Rich, go ahead, put your website in the chat so we can shout it out. So then Paul also went on to say balancing technological advancement while prioritizing human connection is crucial. How do you see leadership evolving to support these changes? Any thoughts?
Um, yeah, I mean, our leadership styles from Gen Z, Millennial are very different from Boomer or Gen X. Uh, we are a little bit more informal, especially I think COVID changed everything.
Mm,
We're having this whole new cohort of people step in and ask for 4-day work weeks, and they're willing to take a pay cut even to have that flexibility.
okay.
But they're also, I think we have this reputation of being difficult or lazy and, not willing to learn. And I completely disagree. Like, I think, again, they're hungry for sustainability to make an impact. But I also think that they're having this awakening, like they're not getting a return on the degrees that they're paying for or the certificates they're earning like their parents had. And so
Sure.
that's kind of disheartening.
Sure. I can see that. And I think COVID did change a lot of stuff as far as work-life balance.
Hmm.
I know my experience has been that you see people that are happy working 50, 60 hours a week because they're making good money then, right? Like they're able to work overtime and get more money and do the things that they want to do. And then COVID happened and they were forced to not work 50, 60 hours a week and go down to 40 hours a week or 45 hours a week. And they were like, wait, so let me get this straight. I have a little bit less money, but a whole lot more time.
Yeah.
I like that better.
Yeah. No, and I do too. I think our values shifted after COVID. People were at home with their families more. They were realizing the importance of spending time with their kids and their significant others. And again, it just was a value shift.
Yeah. And, it's one of those things that, I would talk to my kids about that during COVID and we'd go for walks and you see everybody outside, home on a Tuesday afternoon. And it's this crazy thing where, we would talk about it like everybody would wish that they had more time with their families. They would
Yeah.
pray that they had more time with their families. And it's like God was like, okay, here you go. Here's some more
Yeah.
time with your families. Enjoy. And people are like, well, wait a minute. I didn't want it like that.
Yeah. Do we get a vaccine?
That's not what I was asking for. I mean, can we take it back a notch? That's
Yeah.
but I think it did change a lot of things. It changed culture in a lot of businesses. And it did make the work from home a viable option for a lot of people. Do you like work? You work from home now most days?
Yeah, I have a flex schedule unless I'm on the road. I am at my home office.
Okay. Do you enjoy that?
I do. I do like that flexibility. I've done the office environment, like going in to a cube, wasn't for me.
No.
No, but I do love seeing people too. So at the same time, I miss engaging with my coworkers and showing up in the office. And I guess that is the other side of this topic from Paul about leadership. For young professionals coming up in the industry, it's difficult when you do choose that route to have a 4-day work week and work from home because you're not showing up in the office. You're not, you're out of sight, out of mind. So to also expect growth, I think that's unrealistic.
I think that's a good perspective. We had people working from home during COVID, and then we had certain people that lasted at home a little bit longer.
Mhm.
Uh, and even still, like if you have things going on with your kids or there's something that you need to do, then we allow certain people to work from home.
Mhm.
And I think it has its benefits, and some people are really, really good at it. I'm
Mhm.
not one of those people. Um, and I also think there's value in being at work. Um, I think that a lot of people are more productive on their own at home. I think that's great, but I think you lose some sort of collaboration and relationship when
Right.
you're at home isolated, only working by yourself with what you need to do.
Right. And most recently I learned that when you like give a presentation, most of the way it's received by the audience is by the way that you're standing, your tone, how you're showing up physically, not the content on your slides. So when we're
Right.
working from home and only reading emails every single day, naturally it's not being retained, and it may even be interpreted the wrong way, especially if it's coming from someone in a leadership position. We read too much into things when it's just email.
Oh, because it all depends on your mood.
Yeah.
Are you having a good day? Are you frustrated about something? Like, what's going on with you that when you read this, you're not reading it necessarily how the person intended. You're reading it based on how you're feeling.
Yeah. Yep.
That's why you got to use emojis.
Right. And I abuse it. The emoji, the exclamation point. I'm like, this is all kindness and love right now. So,
It's I think it's really important to do because sometimes you don't know, right?
yeah.
My biggest example of that was during COVID. One of the people that works for us,
Mhm.
I love them. They're tremendous people. Uh, and I was talking to them, and they were telling me that um, their dog, they had to put their dog down or something happened. And I get it. That's horrible. And my response in text, that's my mistake. Like it came in text. So I responded in text and I was like, I'm sorry to hear that. We all have a lot of things going on. I meant it sincerely. Like, I get it. I'm sorry. We've all got that stuff. Like, we've all got
Yeah.
stuff. Like, I get you. It was not the way it was received. It became a thing. And I had to apologize a number of times. Um, but I did it. At least I apologized, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're rolling the dice with just a text, I guess, but
Yeah. But it was after hours. I didn't want to call. It's
yeah.
it's like you and I were talking about before. Sometimes there is that lose-lose thing. Like
Mhm.
I don't know what I honestly still to this day don't think I know what the appropriate answer should have been.
I mean, Chat GPT.
In 2020 though?
Oh, in 2020, no. I don't
Yeah,
even
this was
think it's
this
available.
was like COVID time. Like that's why I was saying like yeah, we all have things. I totally get it. We like
Yeah. I mean, and Google search probably wouldn't have done any favors either.
like
So
how
you did
do
your
I have to Google like how should I respond to this statement?
yeah. No.
And maybe that's a thing, like going back to what we were talking about before with communication and the importance of it. Like maybe what we all need to do is just have a little bit more empathy for each other and not think the worst when we read a text or an email.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe ask a clarifying question like, what did you mean by this?
Yeah.
Before I hate you and I want you to die. That
Yeah.
wasn't the response, by the way. But
Right. Or those fighting words.
yeah. Because I think again, most people don't want to pick a fight or be in a fight.
No.
Um,
It's exhausting.
yes, I don't want to do it. That's for sure. Jen Newell says exciting topics for discussion. Embracing today's workforce dynamics will enhance innovative leadership strategies. What strategies resonate most with your experiences? As far as leadership strategies, let's start there. What leadership strategies do you appreciate the most with the places and the areas that you've worked?
Well, I've done that. Have you done the Myers Briggs test with your company?
I don't think I've done it company wide.
Okay. Well, it's interesting when and I know Westminster Tool does something like this too. I think
They
it's a
do
little
disc.
disc.
Yeah,
Yes. And it's interesting because then you can read your coworkers in a table, like all of you are aligned. You can see who you closely resemble.
sure.
But yeah, I think just having those little insights about how you function is allows people to become more self-aware. And so they're better coworkers because of that. A lot of people I think come from a good place, but their actions are saying otherwise. So if they're
Sure.
aware of it, it's actually helpful.
Yeah, I think that there is definitely some value in those strategies and those whether it's DISC or Myers Briggs or there's so many of them.
Yeah.
And they all teach you good things, right? Like about identifying how you need to be spoken to, how you like to learn, how you engage with other people, uh, the things that set you off and what you should maybe look for or maybe avoid. There are a number of them, and they all like it's all about self-awareness, I think, right?
Yeah.
And empathy towards other people and seeing other people for who they are and where they're at instead of where you need them to be in
Yeah.
order for them to be able to talk to you.
Right. And understanding that maybe you're not seeing the full side of them. Like, I don't know, giving people the benefit of the doubt every time, I think is going to save a lot of relationships at work.
And I've had to have those conversations with people sometimes, like, okay, we've worked together for 7 years. Don't you know my character by now? Or maybe are you telling me that you know my character and you think this is what I'm actually saying?
Yeah.
Uh, but I think again, that's where the actions go further than what you're actually saying or what somebody's anticipating that you're saying. Um, what sort of leadership style are you drawn towards, or are you implementing yourself?
Um, so I like those that show up as non-traditional. Like, usually we picture somebody who's very strong and firm and direct and speaks their mind but I love those leaders that are more active listeners. They
Mm,
engage. They know your significant other's name. They know your kids' names. They're constantly engaging with you despite how busy they are.
sure.
And I don't know. Also, those that are willing to do a little bit of mentorship on the side, they're actively giving back. I think that is huge to invest in this like upcoming cohort too. Uh, yeah, just those that are very empathetic and actively listen.
Yeah.
How
I've
about you?
No, I agree with that. I think that like the days are gone of because I said so. Um like that's the way I grew up. Like that was my dad's answer to a lot of things, like whether it was at home or whatever. It's like because I said so.
Yeah,
Um and I say this all the time. I've told my kids, I've told people at work, like I will 100% tell you why. And it will not be because I said so, because that is, in my opinion, a lazy reason. And there's no opportunity for growth there at all.
yeah. No, and I encourage people to like challenge. I don't know. I like it when they want to be challenged too. They
Hmm.
don't want people pleasers or yes men surrounding them.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I guess like the leadership style I don't care for so much are like the easygoing, like the people pleasers. And I also understand because there's little reward for criticizing people. So
Mm.
I don't know. Those that do it very strategically, I admire.
I feel like so I tend to be a people pleaser. I fall in that category a little bit. I
That's
can I can be mean when I need to be mean, um, but I feel like there's a balance uh, between being what you said that you hope for, right? Knowing people, being able to pour into people, knowing their kids, their families, their this, that, the other thing,
yeah,
um, and then being a people pleaser, because it's very easy to fall into the danger zone of being that people pleaser. Like you have somebody that needs more time off and they've used all their time off. Well, you can be a jerk and you can say, no, you can't go to your kids' play.
yeah,
You have to stay and do your work because we need you to do this thing, whatever that looks like. Or you then have the risk of becoming a people pleaser or being called a people pleaser because you say, go, we'll worry about it later.
yeah. I
And
mean,
there is a balance.
yes. As long as everybody has that opportunity and understands that, if they were in a similar situation, it would be, you know, offered to them as well. then yeah, I mean, I think rules they're guidelines. They're not like, or guide rails. They're not,
Yeah.
I don't know, to a T.
It's one of the reasons, and a lot of people frown on this, but it's one of the reasons that we don't have a handbook at Alliance, because
Oh,
yeah, we don't. We never did. Because as much as I understand that you have to treat everybody the same and offer the same things to everybody,
hmm,
different people have different circumstances. And you can't put everybody in one single box. And when you try to put somebody in, like, if you work for me and you say, my grandma passed away, can I have time off? Okay. And you say, like, my grandma was like my mom and we were really, really close. I might need a couple extra days. Okay, let's figure that out.
yeah,
But the person next to you could say, my grandma died. I don't know her. We didn't have a great relationship. She lives out of state. I haven't talked to her in 7 years, but I want the same time off that Lex had,
go.
because that's what the handbook says. I
Yeah.
get 3 days or whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And so what we keep wrestling with is, like, different people need different things, and once you write it down, now you're bound to it, and you can be sued for not allowing, Bill, who doesn't know his grandma, the same time that you had, because she's like your second mom, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it becomes so hard to be a leader and to own a company, because there are more and more rules that I feel like are being placed on business owners and entrepreneurs to make things difficult.
Yeah. I mean, we have a labor shortage, so naturally
Yes.
we need to be more accommodating for little situations like that. And they really, at the end of the day, aren't that big of a deal. Um, and the return, like on retention, is worth it. You
Right.
know, letting them know that you care about them, even if it's a grandma they barely knew. Maybe it could be a secret mental health day. Who knows?
Sure.
So I'm like, go for it.
Yeah.
I don't make
And
those calls, but go for it.
I think if you actually care about people, you dig in and you find out those things,
Right.
and that's going to make you better off. But to your point, I do feel like sometimes I am a people pleaser, and I try not to be a people pleaser in all the things, but I feel like I have empathy for people, and I understand the situation that they're in and what's happening, and it makes it very difficult to, like, have that balance, right? Like, it's not loving to let people just get away with everything and anything.
Yeah.
So I'm not a people pleaser in that regard, but um, you do have to see people for who they are and where they're at and what they need.
Yeah.
And if that means you have to give a little bit, then you have to give a little bit, and that's okay.
And I think when you truly care about somebody, you do sit down and you have those difficult conversations. You don't
Yeah.
hold it, because I mean, honestly, that's more self-serving than helpful to them.
Right.
So,
And you have to. I mean, if somebody, because again, I think you and I were talking about this offline. When you actually care about people and you want to see them grow both professionally and in their private lives,
mhm.
then you have to have difficult conversations with people.
Yeah.
Because the idea is to make them better. It's loving to instruct and help them to become better human beings than it is to just go, it's who they are. Not my problem. Like, the next place they work, I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
That's not helpful either.
Yeah. No, and it's affecting their team members too. So, I mean, it comes full circle really fast.
Yeah. Rich says, having respect for coworkers, regardless of performance level, is crucial. You can praise, promote, reprimand, coach, and even fire coworkers and employees, but having respect for them as a person is a must-have. Well said. See, that's why I love this guy. Amistad, Amistad Phillips?
Mr. Phillips? Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
They said working with Lexi in a previous position was such a joy. Her passion and enthusiasm were refreshing and encouraging. Glad to see her on your podcast. Me too.
Hi, Amista. Thank you. That's so sweet.
Me too. Isn't it nice when people say nice things?
Yes, I'm like,
Yeah. It just lights you up a little bit.
yeah, love her.
Rich says, years ago, my father was sued because he told an office admin that she reminded him of her mom. It was meant to be a compliment, but was taken like I'm old and fill in the blank. So I mean, that's so crazy. Isn't that crazy? And she probably won the lawsuit, which is the worst part.
Yeah. 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 I don't know.
It's Here's where I find the challenge. And I would love feedback on this from people
Yeah.
because I what I've been told is like somebody goes to the doctor. I can't ask them how the doctor went. Like I'm not supposed to ask them if they're okay. But then how do you care about and love people if you can't ask them if they're okay?
Yeah. I mean, and that's all on the insides, right? Like that's health and wellness. I can see, like, as a woman, what they're saying. Like, you don't ever want to be called old. Like,
No.
my therapy is on schedule every time. But to call, so I don't know. I think it's for all men, just advice, never really comment on a woman's appearance at work. You could say, like, nice, you look nice. That's acceptable.
I
But
don't even know if that's acceptable. I mean, I really don't because somebody might be like, nice. What does that mean?
fair enough.
Like I heard the way you said nice, right? And
Yeah.
what are the words that you said leading up to that? Like, you look nice. You
Yeah.
look nice.
Yeah.
You look nice. Like, you are screwed. You just got to say nothing.
Yeah. No, you have to play it safe. Like, and there's no winning. And really, it comes down to getting to know the person first
Sure.
before you, I don't know, you can read people out, but don't comment on how they look when you barely know them.
No, no. And I would say with like Rich's comment, I don't even know if he said that he commented on our looks. He just said, you remind me of my mom, or you
Yeah.
remind him of her mom. You remind me of your mom. I mean, maybe she's a wonderful human being. Maybe they have a great sense of humor. Maybe they both have brown hair. I don't know, but like something to get sued over? That's not fair.
Yeah. And I would hope it's a coworker that he just met rather than somebody he's worked with for years who just made the call to sue. That's crazy.
And I think what's hard, what I find more and more difficult is like I am a person that cares about people and I want to get to know people, and it's hard sometimes because you don't know where those boundaries are supposed to be
Right.
uh, with conversation and relationship and what that looks like. What one person takes as like a compliment, another person is like, why are you saying this to me? I don't want you to talk to me. Like a couple years ago, it was right around COVID.
Hmm.
I had asked Jessica's like number 2 person. She's our CFO. She handles a lot of stuff. I said, can I have, can you send me everybody's address? And she's like, I don't think I can give you everybody's address. Why? What are you trying to do? And I was like, well, I thought like it would be really cool to like go out with my family and some people and like go say Merry Christmas or like Christmas Carol or whatever. And she was like, Tony, they may not want you at their house. And I was like, what do you mean they don't want me at their house? I just want to say Merry Christmas. And she was like, I think that's a bad idea. I don't think you should do that. There's people that probably don't want you at their house. And I'm like, well, what is that?
Yeah.
And she's not wrong. I know she's not wrong.
No, I mean, there are two types of coworkers. There are those that want to go in, get their job done, and go home, and they don't want any of the extra stuff. And that's okay.
Totally.
That's not my style personally. Like, I love to connect with my coworkers and get to know them. You're the same way. You're a little bit further on that spectrum than I am with Christmas caroling at their front door. I do see value in connecting on the more personal level, but being manufacturing, working with engineers, they are more reserved.
Yeah.
I literally had an engineer tell me it's not that big of a deal. We're engineers. Like, it. What do you say? Emotions aren't a factor here, or something. They absolutely are. They are.
It's yeah, and it's something that I'm trying to get better about. And so now like somebody will go to the doctor and I'll say, can I ask, is everything okay? And if they don't want to tell me, they don't have to tell me. But my goal is to let people know that at least I care,
Yeah.
rather than they go to the doctor and nobody asks. Like, I feel like that's so much worse.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
not saying what's the diagnosis, what medicine are you taking? Was
What's
it,
your blood type?
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but like, I'm not asking about the actual
Yeah.
visit, but are you okay?
Yeah.
I
No,
don't think that should be out of line.
I don't think it is. Asking about specifics, but are you well? I think that's a reasonable question.
Yeah. And if they say no, then I guess I shouldn't ask anymore either. It's so weird because, like, the way that I think the workforce has changed, I'm not saying for better or for worse. But I mean, my father, the way that he used to, like, he knew everybody well enough where they knew who he was, that he
Mhm.
wasn't being necessarily mean, but not everything he said was kind. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So, like, he could walk in and just like start calling people a jackass because that was his way, right? Or it was like monkey this, like, go, but he cared about people and they knew that he cared about them. Uh, and so there was a level of being able to do that, but he also demanded a lot from people, like, break time is over,
Yeah.
get back to work. Like, why are you standing here? Get back to work. Right.
Yeah.
And I think nowadays, when you say things like that, you come across as uncaring, and um, the workforce has changed, I guess, is the only way I know how to say that.
Yeah. I mean, it's talking at people rather than with them.
Sure.
Um, so I think again comes back to the labor shortage. We need to be more accommodating, more
Yes.
kind, more empathetic,
Yes.
because the power is in the people. Like, I don't know how else to
Yeah.
put it.
No, to a certain extent, you're right. Where I guess you can talk to people however you want to, but when they leave to go somewhere else, you can't be upset.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And I like to think, do unto others as you want to have them do to you, right? Like, how do you want to be spoken to at work?
yeah.
Then communicate that way, right? Nobody gets respect because of position. They get respect because they're humans.
Yeah. I mean, leadership is a practice. It's not a position to be earned. I think a lot of people, do find themselves in positions who are more direct like that. It's not my personal style, and it's not one that I think has had a lot of success. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't. There's two types, and
Yeah, I
I
think it
think
used to.
that's kind of aging out.
That did you say that's aging out, that way of doing
Yeah.
leadership? Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with you. I think it might swing back the other way a little bit, though. Only because it's like everything else, right? The pendulum goes, right? You had this, like, because I said so, and then it went all the way over to, well, do whatever you want. And
Yeah.
it has to swing back somewhere to the middle now, to, like, what do we agree on are the standards for doing work together?
Yeah. Well, I think that
Uh,
do whatever you want. A lot of companies did away with set PTO. It was unlimited. And
okay.
you saw people going to work more and taking less paid time as a result. And I think that just speaks to people's eagerness to go to work and make an impact. They were given unlimited days and they didn't take all of them. So
So how does that work? So
I don't know.
when you have unlimited days, is it unlimited paid days?
I don't know. I've never worked for a company that's done it. I think so. I think that's how it's supposed to work.
Okay.
But the expectation is you'd still get your work done. Um, I don't know. I think subconsciously too, people are like, well, if I take less days, then I will be valued more. So
Sure. And again, this is where I think it would be dangerous, because if you had it in your handbook that said you can have unlimited paid days off, and then somebody just, like, stopped coming into work, and you tried to let them go, they could come back and say, well, the handbook says I can take off as many days as I want to. Why is this a problem?
yeah, that's basically what happened during COVID. It was the quiet quitting. It was the great
Yes.
resignation. But people did. They just worked from home and stopped doing stuff and collected a paycheck for a long time.
Right.
And I'm sure there's still people out there doing that today. But
I I think there are, and I think that's why a lot of people are really, really upset with Mr. Musk.
No, I mean, it's frustrating. And I can't see how they would feel fulfilled from doing something like that, but that's personal.
Or they were saying that they were working and working another job.
Yes.
So
That's,
they were benefiting on both sides,
yeah, I've heard of that too. But
which is just crazy.
yeah,
So Rich says, correct, unlimited paid days. I know Gary Vaynerchuk talks about that all the time.
is he?
He is like serial entrepreneur, and he's always talking about unlimited paid days off for people. And he said the exact same thing that you did, that when people were given unlimited paid days off, they took less days because because they were afraid that if they didn't get their work done, it would be bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've thought about it. I don't have the courage to do it, I guess. I don't like being disappointed.
Yeah. I think it's just too ambiguous. Like, I like having something set. The expectation is there, it's clear. And if you go beyond that, it's something that could be considered. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just more simple that way, I think. But
Yeah.
how it seems like people have become very demanding, but in your time, like in your career progressing through manufacturing, have you seen that shift too? Has it been so drastic, or is it just media and people, influencers on LinkedIn describing it this way?
In what regard?
Like how employees have become more demanding for, like, unlimited PTO or working from home or any of these new work cultures.
I
And
I haven't seen it be tremendously demanding. I mean, when I was trying to hire people for marketing positions, I did have people say that they won't apply if they're expected to be in the office. That they will only apply if it's work from home. Which I was like, okay, well, it saves me a meeting. That's great. But you know, we're very generous with people. Like, if you don't have any PTO left, but there's something that you need to do, go do it. Right. It's especially easier to do with hourly employees, because if you don't come to work, then you don't get paid. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
yeah,
I had a guy the other day. He's a salaried engineer, and he said, Tony, I would like to take a day off unpaid. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. Like, you're salaried, right? Like, you make the same amount of money no matter what. So if you come in, you come in. If you don't, you don't. I mean, I don't know how to like do that, because we have an agreed upon thing.
there's no handbook.
There's no handbook. So if you want to take it, I ultimately said, if you need a day off, take a day off. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to not pay you. Like, you're going to ask me to do the math for your salary based on, and then break it all down to 8 hours, and then like tell somebody to deduct that from your yearly. Like, that is way too much work. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, just take the time and
Just enjoy it.
yeah,
Just enjoy the time. Rich mentions, think about a shop or hourly worker looking at exempt employees or salaried employees with unlimited time off. It creates a big divide. So like, when you have people in the shop, man, you need them when you need them.
yeah. And like you said, like showing up to the office, you're able to, go to that person when you have an issue, look them in the eye, know their full intent, and I think you have better results that way.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's while that person could get their work done from home, I think having those hybrid schedules are more effective. Or like,
Hybrid, as in the office some days and at home some days.
yeah, yeah. And on the days that you need to look somebody in the eye, you can show up to the office and talk to those that are hourly who need to be hands-on at the facility. But not showing up at all, it's like, who?
Right. I think it also shows a level of trust between the employer and the employee.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I trust you to go do your job. I know you're going to do what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Which I also think is really, really important to be able to do.
Yeah.
And in all relationships, whether it's work or whatever, I think the key is it has to be reciprocal. There's always going to be give and take in every situation. This is like, my mom always told us that in relationships, the relationships are never 50-50. Uh, it goes back and forth, but sometimes it's 70-30, sometimes it's 20-80, sometimes it's 90-10, but it has to be something that goes in both directions, in order for it to be a real relationship.
Yeah. No, and I've seen a lot of graphics show up on LinkedIn showing what giving 100% looks like in a workday. And maybe it's not 9 to 5. Maybe it's 6 to 9, and then, break, and then 4 to whatever, like
Sure.
whatever, 4 to 9 p.m. So
It's different for everybody, different days.
yeah.
How are you with work-life balance?
Um, I think working from home, like I have Teams, we have Outlook, like it's very structured to begin with. Um, but I do get stir crazy if I'm at my home office too long. Like I want to get out on the road and like speak with customers and my team. Uh, so with work life balance, like eventually I do want to get up and get out.
Yeah.
But it's also, you do get so much done by sitting and not chit chatting all the time. Um,
I'm terrible. I am the worst work at home person ever.
do you
I
work
just
from home often?
no.
Okay.
No. Like when COVID happened, I was probably I was one of the first people to go back to work, because first of all, the people in the shop had to be at work. And I thought that it would send a really, really bad message if I said, it's important for you to be there, but I'm going to stay home. Right. Like, it's important for you to be around other people who could be sick, but I'm going to stay home. Like, I felt like that was a bad leadership move,
Yes.
for distancing. And when I'm at home, I want to be at home. I have too many things in my house that I like, that I would rather be doing. And so, I have undiagnosed ADHD. Uh, I like shiny things, and there are a lot of things that call my attention, and it's really easy for me to get distracted and do the things that I would rather be doing.
Yeah.
Um, and the last part of that is, when I'm at home, nobody wants to call with any problems or issues because they think I'm on vacation. And so, whenever I would come back to the office, then it's like, hey, did you hear about this? And then this happened, and then this happened. And what should we do about that? And it's like, why didn't you just call me? Like, this would have been so easy.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. It is hard to show up and be present when you are working remote.
Yes.
But when you do show up, I think also like attire sets the tone too for engagement. Like sitting in your sweats and a t-shirt at your computer for the working day, you're probably not going to be doing your best, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
that's very challenging.
so working from home, you get up, you do your whole routine,
Yes, sir.
get yourself all ready to go, and
Yep.
then go to your desk.
Yeah. And I'm not going to act like I'm above ever having done that. Um, because there's
Sure.
definitely just experimentation when we were all learning how to work from home, and I hated it. I felt like a bum, but you live and you learn.
I worked from home. My wife and I, Kelly and I, we had a graphic design company for years before I came to Alliance,
Mhm.
and we worked from home. And there were multiple days that I think I didn't shower, and I was in the same pajamas. We had young kids at the time, and so it was like we were with them during the day,
Mhm.
and so they didn't care how we looked. And then they went to bed, and we sat at our computers, back to back, and worked till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and then we went to bed and did it all over again. And if it wasn't a client meeting or something else, I mean, I'm not saying I only showered when I had client meetings. But I mean, there were days where it was like the same clothes and same
Yeah. It all comes
gross.
together. But
Yeah.
I guess that comes back to like the difference between Gen Z millennials and some of the older generation. Oh, I guess millennials would be, this would be a separation between Gen Z and millennial, but showing up to work and having parents get special exceptions for their kids having time off. And it's like, well, I don't have kids, but do I get that time off too? Like, that is also a point of friction I've seen.
Yep. Yeah. And again, it's like one of those things that you sometimes I feel like you can't win.
Yeah. But we're individuals, right? So it needs to be more custom than a
Yes.
handbook. And I think if you're with the right company, they do make those exceptions.
Yep.
So,
And I think what you most rules are created for the bad egg who takes advantage of the situation.
yes. There's always one.
And yeah, and one of the things I learned from again Westminster with all the shout outs today, is that you just need to get rid of the bad eggs.
Yeah.
There don't punish everybody else. One bad apple spoils the bunch. There's so many of the sayings. And I think the key for that is like just get rid of the bad apple.
Hmm.
Like don't throw the whole bunch out. Get
Yeah.
rid of the bad apple. Like don't ruin everything for everybody. Like
Yeah.
just take care of the problem. Like
Yeah.
cut the cancer out and get rid of the cancer. Don't let the cancer spread.
Right. Or educate the cancer. Like pull them aside, give them
Treat
the
the
whole
cancer,
and say,
right?
just treat the cancer. Yes. Give them the Myers-Briggs test. Make them self-aware. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Help them. And if it's still bad, then yes,
Yeah.
goodbye.
I and that's okay too, right? It's one of those things that I struggled with for a long time. You know, being a Christian and like loving people and forgiving people, and then having to fire people at the same time. It's an area that was really difficult for me for a while, because I thought like, okay, how many more chances am I supposed to give this person? What does that look like?
Yeah.
Um, have you had to do that? Have you gotten the opportunity and the gift of terminating anybody yet?
No. And
Uh,
I am grateful for that. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I do think you are doing them a favor. If they're not showing up, they're probably aware of that, right?
mm,
Like when you're not good at something, you kind of feel that. So in the long run, hopefully they do find their passion or something that they're willing to learn. But if you've given them like however many warnings and they're still not showing up, it's just like, it's not a you problem. It's not a company problem. They're not where they need to be.
yes, and ultimately, I mean that's where I came around to, and it sounds harsh for me to say I don't have a problem doing it now. But what I recognize is that like this company is really, really important. And my responsibility is to the 60 plus people that work here,
Mhm.
um, each as individuals and as a whole. And if one person is bringing down the whole, then you try to work with that person. But if they don't want to be part of the team, then they don't want to be part of the team and you can't force them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for the good of the team, you have to make some cuts, right? Like it's like any sports team. If the cancer in the locker room is the best wide receiver on the team and they are really, really good, but they're causing a lot of big rifts, well, it's gonna suck potentially, but you got to get rid of that person so that you can lift the morale of the rest of the group.
Right. I mean, if they're bringing in revenue, it is difficult to cut them, you know?
100%.
They're paying for everybody else. So it is a balance. It's difficult and doing everything that we can to make those people better because they can be. Um, I think that's like the first step.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets nasty.
I can't wait to hear what you learn in your MBA classes about all these things.
Yeah. It's been I think it's been really rewarding because like the business literacy, we're never taught that in high school. We're not
Mm.
taught that if we go into STEM. So it has been kind of eye-opening listening to people in leadership communicate with one another. It's like, oh, this I feel like I learned a whole new language just now. Um,
What's an example of that?
so one of my favorite lessons so far has been about strategic ambiguity. So sometimes you'll have people who
That
will,
sounds really smart.
well, it an example of this would be somebody who would come to you and be like, I'm going to get this done, but I'm not going to say when, how, who's going to be a part of it. Like, it's just like, I'm going to make it's false promises. And there's little accountability because no goals were set.
Okay.
So I've run into that a lot in my career so far. But yeah, strategic ambiguity has been a huge lesson. And now that I can call it out, um, it's been powerful.
So you've been part of it or you've been guilty of it?
I don't know. probably been guilty of it.
I know I'm guilty of it.
Yeah. Like if it's something low priority, I'm sure I'm like, yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But
And
you make those calls.
yeah, part of my issue with that, and I think it's 100% true, and it's something I need to get better at. I recognize that. I never know what today is. So like I know when Christmas is, but I
Yeah.
don't recognize that the days are getting closer to Christmas because I'm just living and doing the things. And so I might tell somebody like, I'll get this done by this day. And then the day ends, and then the next day ends because you're running around trying to do all the other things. And then this one thing, like, it falls lower and lower on the list. And
Yes.
then what I didn't realize, this is all the growth, right? This sometimes the show is like my own therapy sessions. What I what I didn't realize was I was losing trust with those people
Right.
because I wasn't coming through for them on the things that I said I was going to do.
Mhm.
And what they didn't recognize is it wasn't intentional. I wasn't trying to like not give them answers or not be part of the solution. But there were like this mountain of other things that needed to happen before I got to this thing.
Yeah.
And I never thought to tell them like, hey, I have this mountain of things that I'm slowly knocking down so that I can tackle this other thing that you're worried about.
Yeah.
I never forgot about it, but what I didn't do is I didn't have the foresight to go to them and say, I'm sorry, this is taking longer than it should. These are the hurdles and the things that I've been working through. I haven't forgot about you. It's still on the radar.
Right. And we're all guilty of it. Like things slip. We have 100 things going on, but also we're more productive than we ever have been in history. So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, showing grace, being empathetic to people's situations. It's not a deficiency in them. They have 100 things going on.
Right.
And so that is respect, really.
Yeah.
So,
So it's things that I'm trying to get better on. I mean, that's the important thing, right? Is I'm very grateful that I'm surrounded by people that have no problem telling me where my faults are.
well, that's a blessing. I mean, it's better than yes men.
Yes, I
Getting
agree. I agree.
more.
I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I said, one of my favorite things about you is that I know that I'm going to get the real you with no matter what you have to say. Like, sometimes when you're in a position of leadership, you have a really hard time seeing the real person for who they are, because everybody else may see them as something else because they'll act a certain way around other people, and then around the leader, they I don't think it's intentional, but they have a different persona or a different attitude or a different personality. And it's really, really difficult because, somebody will say like, this person does this, 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 and this. And
Mhm.
my answer is like, I don't see it. I mean, I, I see them as a good team member, a good employee. This is what I see. And they're like, well, you don't get to see the real person.
Yeah. No, and I think with professionals, it's on you to find those people who are going to be brutally honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Having a mentor, having someone at work that you can confide in, like, how am I showing up? Where are my blind spots? I mean, is it my tone? Is it, I don't know, like having that person or persons, ideally you'd have a group of people who you trust to be honest with you. Um, I've been fortunate to have a mentor in the industry, Darian Dirksen. She's called me out several times for, she's like, girl, that was stupid. Don't do that again. And she's early 30s. So like, she's also learning along the way too. So I'm like picking up her lessons along the way. But yeah, I think it's a portion of that is our responsibility of finding people to be honest with us.
Yeah. And how you respond when they are honest with you, right? Like, somebody may be honest with you once and you respond really, really poorly. And they're like, well, that's the last time I'm going to make that mistake. I'm not going to share with them again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that there are a number of areas that I need to get better in. And so I really like having people around me that are not afraid to say, you missed on this, or, you're not coming through in this area, or whatever that looks like. It never feels good. But I think it's necessary, or, I feel like you're spreading yourself too thin. How are you going to tackle all these things? What's that going to look like? And just, I think it's good to be challenged and not look at it as negative.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Look at us. We solved all the leadership problems in the world. If people would just do what we said, the world would be so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. And it's going to keep evolving. I mean, our dynamics are going to constantly shift, especially as the next generation steps into leadership positions. What is that going to look like? Where are priorities going to lie? Yeah. So.
I think ultimately right now, if I could build a leader, it would be somebody that holds people accountable, points out, this was wrong, don't do it again, right? This is why it was wrong, don't do it again. Is forgiving in that respect, uses it as a teachable moment, and doesn't just sweep it under the rug, but has a legitimate conversation for it, can be angry and stern when they need to be, but also loving and empathetic at the same time. I think it's a much more complex position than anybody gives credit to.
Yeah. Yeah. And people,
And it's very hard. Go ahead.
It's like parenting, like I look back at my mom and I mean, I was hard on her, but it's like they're learning. People who step into leadership positions, they're also learning how to adapt to people. And at the end of the day, they do become part-time therapists because people are complex and they're showing up to work, to do their job, obviously, but also they have stuff going on. So they'll learn along the way to be more flexible.
Yeah. And it's really, really important. I think leadership has evolved into a position where your job is 90% take care of the person or the people that you are in the care of. And that's it. Right. And the hope then is that those people will then do a better job, and pick up the slack in the areas that you don't have the time to do because you're caring for the people that are in your care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't think the person that's in charge of whatever it is also needs to be the highest producing person on that team.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've ever listened to stand-up comedy, but
Yes.
Daniel Tosh was talking about the recession of 2010, and he's like, everyone was shocked about the unemployment rate being at 10%, but I couldn't believe that 90% of people were employed. And at the end of the day, like the expectation for everybody to be outstanding, that's just unrealistic. Like if that is the best they can give, okay.
Yes.
So there will be those super excelling people, but to hold everybody to that, I think is unrealistic. But
yeah, no, I agree with you. So you want to play 5 questions?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's see if I can let's see. Is the music going to work? Hold on. Oh yeah. Can you hear the music?
I can.
It's a little loud. I'll turn it down a little bit. So this is going to be 5 questions. These are some random questions. We're just going to see what you think about some things. You can go into as much detail as you want to, or they could be one-word answers, but that's less fun. If you could make one rule that everyone had to follow, what would that rule be?
Wear belts. When I came into
wear belts?
At least if you're like an engineer, like if you're hopping around a machine, getting in and out, like we make enough, you can afford a belt. You know what I'm saying? So when I first came in, I had a rude awakening.
So you're just trying to avoid plumber crack?
Yeah. It's only appropriate.
So. No, I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair. Would suspenders suffice?
I mean, yeah, if that's your style, I'm not going to hate on it.
So basically what you're saying is everybody's pants should be up where their pants need to be. Whether you need to use a belt or rope or suspenders or whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to see your butt crack.
No. Yeah. No. And from what I've seen, it's nothing to so
at least wear good underwear.
Yeah. Have some pride.
I think that's fair. I think that is a rule that everybody should live by. Put your pants where your pants belong. It's good. So you didn't know you were going to get these questions.
No, these are now my intrusive thoughts. So thank you for this.
Yes, you got it. What is the one thing that you are superstitious about?
Oh God, Tony. Fun fact, I love conspiracy theories. So
You do? What's the biggest one you're in right now?
Oh no. No.
Moon landing, real or fake?
There's evidence that it's not. I'm not gonna let it happen.
Listen, I would agree with you on. I think what I find very interesting is all the things that were supposed to be conspiracy theories. There's a lot of it that comes true, and so like, what is that? I mean, there's reasons that there are people looking into it. Now, I will say with certainty that the world is not flat.
Oh, absolutely not. That's crazy.
Okay. We can agree on that one. That's good. The world is not flat.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's like we were fed so much misinformation. Like,
yes.
To assume with confidence anything, it's ignorant.
Yeah. What scares me about that sometimes is because I would agree with you that sometimes I find myself going down that same rabbit hole, and I love the country that we live in. I'm not gonna say I don't.
Yeah.
But there's a but there. If some of the stuff is true, then we may be the worst country in the world, and we may be the bad guys. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, I hope that's not the case, but sometimes you see certain things and it makes you go,
Yeah. I don't know. I've been lucky to travel abroad quite a bit, and every time I come back, I'm like kissing the ground that we walk on. I love it here. I'm proud to be an American, but just like anybody else, we have room for improvement. But we're only 250 years old. We're babies.
Right.
We've done pretty good.
And I think that's a really good point to make, because so many people feel like things are better outside of the country. And yeah. I feel like a lot of times those are people that don't leave, or they don't talk to people about what is real in the places that they're living.
Yeah. I mean, from what I've heard, America is where you go to make your money, and then you go to Europe to spend it.
Oh, there you go.
So
I think that's fair.
We don't have the beautiful architecture or anything like that, but yeah, we work hard.
Yeah, and I think there's fairness to that. Yeah, I mean that's a whole different rabbit hole we can go down. So what are you superstitious about? You have no superstitions. Good for you.
I mean, I definitely do. I'm just on the spot right now, man.
So my biggest one, and I don't know what bad would come from it, but I always have to put my right sock on first, and then my left sock, and then my right shoe and my left shoe. I will not do it in reverse order.
Yeah. Okay, that was a helpful example. When I see pennies on the ground that are heads up, I'll post it if it's heads up, but if it's not, I will flip it up for the next person for good luck.
Do you ever pick it up?
I'll flip it over, but if it's like heads up, I'll just take a picture of it and leave it for the next
But you never pick up the penny?
No.
Okay.
There's also like fentanyl out there. I'm not picking up stuff off the ground anymore.
How did Lex die? It was a fentanyl-laced penny.
Yeah. Abe did it.
Yeah. All right, I think that's fair. I like that. All right. Question number 3. If you had to marry a cartoon character, who would it be?
Oh, no.
The hard-hitting questions come last.
Have you seen that joke of like girls' Spirit, the horse movie? Like there was something about that horse. It's so stupid. Yeah. I can't even envision a cartoon right now.
Wow. All right. That just means you haven't watched cartoons in a while, which is fine. Good for you.
Yeah. Who has time for that?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I saw this question and I thought about it long and hard. I think it would probably be one of the Disney princesses. Uh,
Which one?
there's a lot to choose from. Not Mulan, she would kick my ass.
Yeah, they're
That's
also all like 14.
yeah. So maybe I need a totally different answer.
Just an idea.
And and skip. We're gonna skip. We're gonna skip this question entirely. We got nowhere on that. All right. Question number 4. If animals could talk, what would be the rudest and why?
Geese. Man, I was just up in the north and they have a lot of geese. I had one charge me and I was with a customer. And so I'm like looking at him and one of these geese was airborne coming at us actively. I was like, surely he's going to put his feet back on the ground any second now. And he didn't. And I yelled, like I'm looking at this man, yelled in his face because this geese was going to attack him from behind. And then it stormed me again. We came back outside and it was like yelling.
And it
So
puts its head down, right? Like it puts its head down and it like streamlines and like waddles and
opens its mouth, like it just like hisses.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're
If they
like,
could-
you're a goose. Chill out.
Yeah.
You're not a
It'd be
dragon.
hands-on
You're a
sight.
goose. They what?
Yeah. It would be hands on sight. If they could talk,
Oh
they
yeah.
don't mess around.
No, we just dropped Jack off at school. We went and watched him run track, and there was a goose that was
Mhm.
sitting on the sidewalk, and this guy was walking his dog, and the same thing. The goose like went and attacked the guy with his dog, and the dog was afraid of the goose, and it wasn't like this little like tiny dog. It was a real sized dog, and the dog was afraid of the goose. And then so Jack walked back over, and we were like, Jack, how close can you get to the goose before he gets mad? He's like, oh, that goose is an a-hole. I'm not going near that goose. That like he
You're
just
mean.
causes problems for everybody on campus.
Yeah. I mean, what animal would you say?
Most people say cat. That has been our number one answer is cats. Are you a cat person?
I am.
Yeah.
And you know why I like cats?
No.
Because they're realistic. Dogs are
They-
always happy. Love that. But cats have every emotion. They're happy. They're distant. I love it.
Yeah. You know why I don't like cats? Because they crap in your house. I mean, you put their bathroom in your house, but
yeah.
I just, in fairness, I don't have any pets, so
Okay.
I
I like how self-sufficient they are. They take care of they need
Cats?
crap in the house, but yeah, they take care of themselves.
yeah, they do, but I feel like if you died, they would eat you because they are self-sufficient. Like they wouldn't miss you; they would be like, food.
I don't know.
I'm just telling you what the number one answer has been. I think goose is a very good answer, just based on experiences with geese.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they really are. All right, last one. Here we go.
Okay.
How many kindergarten kids could you take in a fight before you were outnumbered?
The fact that this is on LinkedIn and I'm going to talk about hitting kids.
Maybe you can talk them down.
Yeah. Maybe hug my way out of it. Is that PC? I honestly feel like one would be enough. Like it's just such an inconvenience and a hassle. I would just be startled and freeze.
Listen, kindergarten kid, I'm not gonna rumble with you. You are too much of an inconvenience in my life.
Yeah, I'm like, you won already. You win. Whatever you want, you have it.
Here's my lunch money. And by the way, there's a penny over there.
Yes.
It's face up, and I hope it doesn't have fentanyl on it.
Yeah.
Maybe you should be careful flipping the pennies over also, though.
I mean, fair enough. That's a good point.
You're going to have one rubber glove for your penny flipping.
I just want other people to have good luck too.
I think it's great.
Yeah, it may cost me my life, but
it's very considerate of you.
What's the common answer here?
This is actually the first time I asked this question.
Oh, okay. Thank you for saving it for me. No.
You got it for the first time.
Cool.
I wasn't expecting one though. I figured, you could take on a handful.
I'm not a fighter, man. Like,
Some of those kids are vicious.
I'm like, let's negotiate. What do you want? Sit down and have a conversation.
Hey, there's an ice cream shop. I'll buy you an ice cream. Would you
Yeah.
rather have an ice cream?
Yeah.
And then you'd be trying to do something good, and people would see you with a kid, a kid, and they're like, "She's kidnapping a child."
Yeah. They're like, call 911.
Yeah. Here you would see. So here you would be trying to negotiate with a child, so you don't have to fight the child, and you would still get in trouble. This is my point. We cannot win with what we're trying to do. So how did you like 5 questions? That's fun, right?
Yeah, that was interesting. I was not expecting that.
Yeah. We try to change them all the time to make it a little bit interesting. But
It's good. Switch it up.
It makes it fun sometimes. Is there anything else that you would like to go over or touch base on?
I feel like, I have my list of notes here in preparation.
Yeah. And we didn't hit any of them.
We touched on most topics, but yeah, I mean, I liked how it was an open discussion. Are there any more questions in the chat that we could answer, or is that?
Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see. Your expertise in connecting manufacturing and future mobility trends is truly inspiring. How are you navigating generational workplace dynamics? I think we talked on that a little bit.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting combining seasoned veteran people with the rookies or the new people and what that looks like. How has that experience been for you?
It's been interesting. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been fortunate to have a lot of good mentors or people willing to help me out or call me out when I'm doing something wrong. But to the other side, I've also gotten I've been doing this longer than you've been alive, right? So that's obviously irritating. But to that point too, I'm like, more people are reaching the age of retirement than graduating high school. So if you don't teach me anything, I mean, we're already depleting. So you might as well share what you know. Let's work together. But yeah, and I've been fortunate to have come across that more so than the, do you even remember that? That was before you were born, probably. So
I think a lot of that comes from what we talked about, that old school mentality of like I've had people tell me, you want me to train so-and-so so that you can fire me and pay them less money. And I'm like, no, man, I want you to train them so that you can go on vacation. Like, I want you to train them so that we can do double the amount of work so that I can afford to pay you more money. Like, I want you to train them so that you're more than just a guy that does the thing. You're a guy that can teach people how to do the thing. I want you to have more value to us as an organization. If you were going to get fired, I would fire you before, I'm not going to wait till you train somebody else if you're that bad. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, like, the world is an imperfect place. What happens if you get hit by a bus? Like, I need a plan B.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
Just like, I don't know.
I think the culture is changing, and I don't fault people for thinking that way, because that must be the way that they were brought up in the industry.
Yeah. And we need to understand where we came from in order to envision where we need to be going. Like stepping into their shoes is of utmost importance for young professionals. Like, we need to do that. But also, it's exciting for them when we can share our perspective too. It's not a one-way street. We're bringing value to the table too, despite not being as experienced.
Yes. And it's looking at things from a different perspective. It's utilizing new technology. It's, if something has always been done the same way over and over again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way. It's the only way that we know.
Yeah.
And so a fresh set of eyes or a fresh perspective is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not a guaranteed thing either.
Yeah.
So I think there's responsibility on both sides to hear the feedback and give it some consideration, but then also being willing, as the new person, to be able to say, maybe my idea needs some tweaking.
Yeah. Oh, I think humility is a must, especially for those stepping out of college with degrees. Like, you probably learned a lot of theoretical, but the hands on isn't there. Like, you need to humble yourself when talking with these professionals because it's when you rub them the wrong way, they're not going to teach you anything. Even
Right.
if you know like how it should be done, doing it is a whole different experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of my biggest life lessons coming out of college. So went to college for graphic design and marketing and all of those sorts of things. And it was like I learned all over again when I actually went to work.
Yeah, same.
It's a big change. And it's like you learn how to use the software, but you don't know anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I was fresh out of college at Influx, they taught me how to mold. So I'm like in the injection molding machine, pulling setting tools. Um, and when you do water lines, you can mess it up pretty quick. It's easy,
Yes.
but if you're learning, you're going to probably mess it up. And I've
Yes.
taken so many direct eye contact shots to the face from either purging the mold or like even at the back end, like turning the wrong uh, lever thing and just yeah. And again, I think I mentioned earlier today, I'm Hispanic. My hair's naturally curly. So when one of those situations happened, I have like half of my afro. The whole day's ruined. But
So then do you wet the other side?
huh?
Do you wet the other side to have the full fro?
Yeah, you got to commit at that point. And at that point too, I had contacts, so it would like blow one of them off. It would ruin my whole day. But
You're like, I'm going home. I'm going to work from home. Goodbye. Good night. I'm out.
oh, but yeah, I think humility with this group of people on both ends.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I think it's instrumental, and I think it's a learning curve for people that have never experienced that. Um, and it takes developing people to allow them to understand what you're trying to do with them,
mhm.
um, and build. It's all trust. I mean, you have to have your team has to trust you, and you have to be able to trust your team.
Right.
And it's not an easy thing to build, and it can be destroyed really, really quickly.
Yeah. And sometimes it's automatically not there from the get go. Like that Women Breaking the Mold conference, I think we talked about it offline.
Yeah.
Um, they were sharing statistics at these events about like, hey, it's not in your head. Sometimes leaders choose not to travel with their employees because they're a younger woman and they don't want anything to happen. So it's trust. It's like getting up, getting personal, being humble.
Yeah.
But that
There's
purposeful.
Yeah, there's so many. I would love to talk more about what you just said, and because I think it applies in so many different ways. But it'd be like hours long conversation. We'll have to do this again. See what you can get away with saying, because what you just said about like traveling with coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a tricky thing to navigate. Um, as a man, I have no problem going to a conference or something with a woman, sitting in the car, driving, talking about whatever we're talking about, going to lunch, whatever that looks like. But everything is in the eye of the beholder, right? So you can have a conversation that somebody doesn't like or takes a certain way, and all of a sudden it's all derailed, right? And somebody says, well, maybe men and women shouldn't drive in the same car anymore. Well, then you have to make a decision who can go and who can't go, because now you're paying double to go to the same function.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make any sense either.
Yeah. And I don't know, if it's a leader who's a man and somebody who works for them, it could hold back their professional development too at the end of the day. Like, I don't know, having those open conversations with your team and getting to know them so that you can travel safely or comfortably with somebody. I don't know. That's something that I think young professionals aren't warned about beforehand.
Yeah.
But if you really want the engagement and to have these opportunities, you got to show up and share your intentions with your leader.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a great conversation to have more, like a whole different thing.
Okay.
Because, I'm sure you have other things to do than just sit and talk to me all day. As much as I love it. But I think it's an important conversation because I think women in manufacturing and just in industry as a whole is a fantastic add to what we're doing. A huge advocate for everything that it is, not because it is a different perspective and a different mindset and a different opinion on how things are done. I mean, it just is.
Yeah.
Most men and women think and act differently. That's a reality of life,
Yeah.
and different people and bring different things based on their experiences and what that looks like. And so I see it as a huge value add to an industry, but I can also see the difficulties in those things and what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's a beautiful fusion when we are comfortable and we are able to collaborate together. It's just you got to push aside the stereotypes or the false expectations that they have. Like I can't think of the word. It's
The perceptions of what's
yeah,
going on.
yeah, the subconscious bias. That's what it is.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Well, like I said, I would sit and talk to you for a long time, but it's almost 2 hours,
yeah,
believe it or not, which is
I think we've done
great.
good. Yeah, I think we've done good. Thanks,
Yeah.
Tony.
I think we covered our bases. So we always end our show with a prayer. Are there any prayer requests that you have before we go?
I have a lot of family in Kansas, and they are getting tornadoes right now. So
Are they all doing okay right now?
as from the last time I talked to them, yes, yeah, but tornadoes are never fun.
Have you ever been in one?
Fortunately, no. And honestly, being from there, I'm so numb to it. Whenever we got tornado warnings, we were like out on our porch looking like we're not in the basement. We're like, until it's right here,
Yeah.
my eyes are on the sky. But
Have you been that up and close to a tornado?
fortunately, no,
Okay.
no. But I mean, I grew up in Tornado Alley, so
Yeah.
it was constantly watches or warnings. And fortunately, it just never was my area.
That's one of my rational, irrational fears, I think, is tornadoes. Of all the natural disasters, that's the one.
What about hurricanes? Those are wet tornadoes.
Yeah, but I'm in Illinois. If we get hit with a hurricane, you better know Jesus, because that's all that's going to save you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it's going to save you anyways. But yeah, you're dead. If Illinois gets hit with a hurricane, we're just bye.
Yeah.
It's been nice knowing you.
Yeah. Thanks for the bath.
Yeah, that's it. That's all that looks like. I think earthquake would be bad, in California, where it's just going to fall into the ocean at some point.
Yeah.
But tornadoes in Illinois is a thing I've seen. It's amazing how like a house will be there and then a house is gone.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah. Or for those people with livestock, I feel so bad for those animals. They don't know. But
Do
hopefully
you think they don't know?
I don't.
Do you think like do you think the cows are like, oh man, here we go. They're inside in the basement in the bomb shelter. Here we are. There's a funnel cloud. It's getting closer. Nice knowing you.
It's like how ground beef is made. They're all like pushed
It's not ground beef. It's air beef.
airborne beef.
It's skewered. All right. Well, we've digressed. I will pray for us, and then we'll wrap up. And yeah, we'll do that. I'm going to put you on hold when we're done, and then if you want to hold on for a second, I'll come back and we'll just wrap up.
Okay.
Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for this opportunity to talk with Lex. Thank you that you allowed us to meet in the plastics conference. Thank you for her passion for everything that she does and for trying to keep your earth clean and lead people in a way that treats them with empathy and humility and as they are, one of your creation, made in your image. And so we just ask that you would watch over us, that you would watch over the people in Kansas, the people that are dealing with natural disasters, wherever that is, whether that's hurricanes or tornadoes or earthquakes or fires or who knows, that that you would be there, that you would let them know that you're there, and that you would draw people to you. And through all of it, you would receive the glory. And it's in your name we pray. Amen. Lex, thank you for spending some time with me and chatting and having some fun and teaching me that geese are rude.
Yes. The most important takeaway.
Yes, geese are terrible. And we all have conspiracy theories.
Yes. That's for not LinkedIn. But it was great. Thank you for having me. I mean, again, it was great meeting you at the National Plastics Conference, and I hope to see you at this year's. But yeah, you're a joy. Thank you.
You got it. I'm going to put you on hold, and then I'll come right back and we'll wrap up.
Cool.
Thanks, Lex.
Thanks.
All right, buddy. That was Lexington Peterson from ENGEL. Super fun, super interesting conversation. I think it's always fun to talk with people that are new in the industry and what they have going on. She's been around the industry for a little bit, so it's not that she's super new, but you know, I have way more gray hair than she does, so I'm older, and it's nice to hear other people's perspectives and point of views on things. And so I hope that you found value in the conversation. And if you did, I would just ask you to like and subscribe to the show in some way. Stay tuned for Make Manufacturing Fun Again. That will be coming out soon, very shortly. We're sorry for the delay, but it is totally going to be worth it when you see it. I have nothing else to say other than thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Take care and God bless.